I was given a free trip to Dubai by a company called WhiteRock. They reached out to me and wanted to prove to me and the community and myself that they are not a scam. What a weird request, right? So they promised me a 5-day, first class, all expense paid trip, which turned into an economy flight for 3 days. So not only did they promise big and deliver small, I was flying there under the promise that they would answer all of my questions that I had regarding their company. And if you watched my last video, there was at least 20 different concerns, and I spent a lot of time researching and putting together 27 questions for the team to have the opportunity to prove their legitimacy, that they and their company is not, in fact, not a scam. Now, if you go to my Discord, I posted the questionnaire in the WhiteRock channel in my public Discord. So you can publicly go read the questions I put together for the team. I spent a lot of time putting that interview together, and in such a way that provided that they answered the questions, it would prove them a legit company. It wasn't written to interrogate them or destroy them or the company. I wanted to genuinely give them a positive interview. I was happy that they were flying me out to Dubai. I wanted to reward their efforts by being overly fair and giving them the opportunity to be painted in a good light. I did most of my own research on the questions that I was asking, and I already knew almost all the answers, or at least to most of the questions. But I still wanted to ask them so the community could hear the truth. A lot of the questions they already answered in AMAs and on their Discord, but also a good portion hadn't been. So I organized the interview in a way to which all questions that they answered would build upon my later questions, so people listening would have a good understanding of everything properly. I'm not kidding when I emphasize that I put a lot of elbow grease into making this an extremely favorable interview for them. Despite the negative publicity that the public's perception of them and their company, after leaving the States at 8 p.m. on a Saturday and arriving in Dubai at 7:30 p.m. on a Sunday, losing almost a whole 24 hours, I ended up in a hotel Sunday night, unpacked, finished writing, and got ready for the yacht party on Monday, which was the next day. The yacht party was at 4 p.m., but they asked me to arrive at 3 p.m. This was when things start to get fun. With there being a 9-hour difference when I went live in there and on TikTok, it was really early in the States. But a lot of my followers were changing their sleep schedule to catch these lives. On average on my TikTok, on my live, I would get like 80 to 200 people during peak hours in the afternoon. On a hyped live or big events, I can get thousands of people on my lives. And I've had it happen before, but with the time difference, I was worried I would pull anyone because I was going to be going live at 3 p.m., which would be 6 a.m. live in the United States. But surprisingly enough, I was still averaging between 50 to 100 people or more who showed up to my lives. So in my opinion, this just shows how much people really wanted answers to these questions about WhiteRock. It was the day of the yacht party. I ended up showing up late because the taxi got stuck in traffic. Apparently, this is very common in Dubai. It's a very busy city. So despite leaving early, it took almost an hour drive to get 20 minutes away. When I got to the marina where the yacht was, I started my live and started heading towards the yacht to meet up with WhiteRock and the other influencers. Ended up meeting up with Max Gineffry, their chief marketing officer. Things were going very well. I was excited to live stream the event to my followers who have been waiting days for this. And then this happens.
You're not allowed to go. You're not allowed to stream, bro.
I mean, I'll just ask somebody to do this.
I've
been told.
I'm one of the hosts.
You're one of the hosts?
Yeah.
I want to be it. Do those guys that were just talking to me work for you guys? They don't work for you? No? Okay, they're claiming that they work for you, and they're trying to tell me that they're trying to kick me out of the hotel because I'm recording.
I know who I am. You don't know who I am.
This is recording me, buddy.
I don't want people to know I'm here.
This is
Please
okay.
don't
Well,
put
just
me
have a
on
good day,
camera.
buddy.
Just
Have a
don't
good
put
day.
me on camera, innit?
Okay, you have a good day. I thought that they were random people at first, but from what I was able to tell, these guys were either other influencers, employees for WhiteRock, or both. But remember, at this point, I only thought these guys were just some random hotel Karens. I was genuinely only recording myself and the inside of the hotel. I wasn't focusing on other people. I thought the place was beautiful. I wanted to share it with my followers who were watching. But their extremely aggressive approach was very unnerving, to say the least. They felt that they could just come up and manhandle me and tell me what to do. They then blatantly lied and claimed that they worked at the hotel. And then when I doubted them, they aggressively insisted.
Don't believe me?
Man, I don't. You came up to me in like a Levi t-shirt. I truly wish you could have seen their faces during this confrontational approach, so you could have seen the hostility in their eyes that I was looking at. I then asked the hotel counter if these guys worked there, and he insisted that they absolutely did not. I also asked if I could record, and he said it was no issue. But they got pissed after me calling them out for lying, and then they went to the manager at the hotel, who then approached me and said people were uncomfortable with my recording, and to which I responded I would just leave. There was a public walkway outside with a fountain, and I just went out and hung out there. How's it going?
How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. I got kicked out.
Yeah, I know. Apparently there's, like influencers who don't show their faces out, so they were a little bit like kind of sketchy about being filmed on live stream. That's the only reason why.
That seems really questionable. They're coming to an influencer event and they don't want to be seen on video. I mean, I don't know how you want to be an influencer and not be at an influencer event where other people aren't being an influencer while they're there.
These are just other people who have been invited,
Right.
Who came up to the organizer and said, "I'm not really comfortable with being filmed."
Right.
Influencers. So I'm sure if maybe we.
After a few minutes, though, those hotel Karens were walked outside, to which they walked right by me with my camera recording. So this is the first red flag I've seen at this WhiteRock event that doesn't make me feel comfortable even being here. So now that we have these influencers who don't want to be recorded, who think that they're tough shit. Like, he just gave me like the death stare as I was walking. Did you see that? So, I don't know how I feel about the event now. Like, honestly, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't even feel like I want to go on the yacht. If this is this level of hostility that's gonna be going on during this type of event, and you're walking in the same walkway that I'm on, this was their choice at that point. They knew I was outside recording and they walked towards me anyway. After we walked by each other with my camera, the one dude, I fucked me so hard. And I stared him down even harder. Like, he wanted to fight me, like right then and there. I won't lie, I haven't always been the best person in life. So I had that side of me that was scratching up saying, please do it. To which, that's a horrible side of a man that can come creeping up when you're in another country and you're not familiar with their laws. Red flag number one, the influencers that they have at the event don't want to be known as influencers. They don't want their face shown. So the people that approached me were apparently other influencers, and they didn't want me to record because they don't want to be recorded. So that's very confusing because these people are influencers. This has to be, number one, the largest red flag I've received since I've been here. I almost don't even want to go on the yacht. They are throwing a huge fit about me recording. They're coming to an event for the key opportunity leaders, which are the influencer events for influencers. And they don't want other influencers to record, which is what influencers do. I did look up their recording laws after I got back to the United States because a lot of people kept leaving comments saying that Dubai can be strict on recording and photographing others. But it seems, if I'm understanding the laws correctly, as long as I was not in an airport or a government facility in Dubai, I should be legally allowed to record, especially in public places. The laws does seem to get more strict when someone asks you specifically not to record them though, which is what was happening. That's why, despite this guy being a Karen, I want to respect his wishes and to not be photographed, and I kept his face out of the video. After we finished eye-fucking each other, this is when Max Gineffri approached me again and said that apparently the other influencers going on the yacht don't want me recording because it bothers them.
Of the people who are attending,
Yeah.
Some of them don't show their faces.
Gotcha.
So that's why they're like.
This is when I realized that those guys that were approaching me were heading directly towards the yacht. And Max is now telling me that other influencers don't want me recording. Yeah, so those guys were other influencers going on the yacht. They were not random Karens from the hotel. And in their opinion, I just stuck my camera in their face. So in my head, I'm off to a great start in making friends with the other influencers. Hooray! But also, I started noticing things. and getting a very bad vibe about everything that was going on. My gut was already giving me that, hey man, something's wrong feeling. And I noticed it earlier, and now it's just getting worse. I appreciate you all. Please go to my profile for part 7. Click all the buttons, leave a comment. Wealth, love, and authenticity to you all.